Hello, good evening. Welcome to your Wednesday night bedtime stretches. Oh, 1 second. Oh, I think we're okay. All right, nothing's breaking. Sorry. My cat is getting into some things right now. We are going to be doing a class with a foam roller and a mat today. For certain stretches, if it's hard for you to sit on the floor, have a chair close by, and that will make a couple of exercises easy for you. Let's get started. All right, one moment. Off my desk. Thank you. Okay, let's have our foam rollers. I'm gonna go grab mine. And let's start right on the mat. Okay. If you have a long foam roller, we will start with the whole spine on the mat like so. Or if you have a long foam roller, we will start with the spine on the foam roller like so. My feet are wide, my knees are together. I want to bring my forearms together and then just open up and feel the front body, the chest and the pecs spill open. If you do not have a long foam roller, you are going to lay down on the mat with your knees bent. You can tent your arms and gently rock the knees side to side. And so wherever you are, we're just getting a little bit of motion into the body. We'll be continuing with some of the massaging that we did last week. I got a couple of messages after class saying that it was helpful, a little painful, but mostly helpful. And if you're on the foam roller, remove the foam roller. And let's all bring the knees into the chest. And just feel the lower back release. I like to rock a little side to side here, and you can do what feels best for you. And when you're ready, you can start rocking up and down the spine. Just gently. This is not rolling like a ball, which is a Pilates exercise. This is just to get a little bit of rocking and rolling happening and feeling good in the back. All right. I'm going to come a little closer to you, and we're going to start now with a little bit more of a warm up. Okay. First thing is getting into the head and the neck. So getting into the head and the neck, let's do a few circles to begin with, sitting in a comfortable position. Either I'm cross-legged right now, cross-legged on the knees, and if either of those don't feel good, you can sit on a chair. And we're starting with little head circles. So we bring the ear towards the shoulder, making sure that the shoulder isn't going up, the shoulder is staying rooted down, chin to chest. Ear to the opposite side, and nose towards the ceiling. One more time, just like that. Noticing where it feels good and stretchy, noticing if there's any pinching or pain, and noticing if there's any areas that are crackly and crunchy, and rotating in the opposite direction. And again, in the opposite direction. Noticing what feels good, what feels stagnant. All right. Give those shoulders a couple rolls back. Oof. All right. We did this last week, I think, bringing one hand around and matching it, and then bringing the ear towards the elbow that is bent, and feeling a nice deep stretch along the side of the neck. And if you want, you can start playing with tilting the nose down and up a couple of times, getting into the fibers of that neck. Bringing the head back up. Switching sides, it looks like I have a tail now. All right, this is going to be an eventful class, I think. And bringing the head to the side. Taking a moment here to feel all of that neck relax on that side. Wagging the nose down. And up. Yelling it out if you need to. This class is intended to prepare you for bed or just kind of wash away the stress of the day. Then when you're ready, bring the head back up, and again, give those shoulders a little roll back. All right, one of my favorites now. We are going to go right under the collarbone and press that skin down. And from here, we are going to tilt the chin away. And so this is going to help us stretch all this fascia in front of the neck. Ooh, I almost feel it like zinging into my jaw. And you can wag the nose down and up on this one, working through that tension. And when you're ready, bringing the head back up, and other side, pressing right under the collarbone, pressing down. And the head comes away. Oh, with this lighting, you can almost see the tendons and and everything that's being stretched here. Breathing deeply. This can be a little intense and a little tender, but it will feel good as you release it. Take a second to shake that off. And just because it feels so good, we are going to take 2 fingers. I like to stack my middle finger on top of my pointer finger. And we're going to go into the sides of the jaw. The area that I constantly remind us to release. And starting with a little massage always feels good or painful depending on how tight you are. I like to comb downwards. Maybe you like to find little circles. Getting in there. And being gentle, because this is a really, really tender area of the body. And often we don't think about releasing this area, and we don't realize how hard this area works for us. It's what we use when we chew. It's what we use when we talk. Sometimes it's what we clench when we're stressed. All right. Whew. And bringing those fingers and gently the temples. That also feels really nice. Maybe not as tender as the jaw. And while you're here, you can even close the eyes, zoning in on the breath. Good. Let's come to our roller now. All right. Starting with opening up our upper backs. So we did this last week, but just a little reminder, we have the roller kind of in our mid back area. So kind of like where your like bra strap would be. I like to have my hands behind my head. My elbows are forward, which helps me keep my upper back a little rounded. And I roll back to kind of that big knobby muscle at the base of my neck, and then back to the middle back. And I roll over that area a few times, getting nice and into the muscles that are in between the shoulder blades. And spend a moment longer here. And when you're ready, bring that roller to the middle of the back. So right under kind of the shoulder blades. You can even wiggle the shoulders around a little bit, making sure you can feel the tips of the shoulder blades right on the roller. And then keeping the hands behind the head, we're going to arch back gently, opening up the front of the body, feeling the back spill over the roller. And then on an exhale, coming back up. Inhale, arch. And exhale, coming up. One more time. Inhale, arch. Exhale, bring it up. Good. Let's take a moment to put the roller to the side. We are going to go into a little foot massage now. And again, if you're not super comfortable sitting on the mat, you can always come and sit on a chair. So first, let's just rub the foot, warming it up. And then when you're ready, get a little bit more specific with the touch and dig into the foot. And only go as deep as you feel necessary. This isn't one of those foot massages that is supposed to be painful. This is one of the foot massages that are supposed to be a little superficial and feel good. But this is just to help get everything flowing through the feet, especially if you've been sitting all day. Getting right into the little, kind of like I call it the hollow of the heel. It's kind of right in between these two ankle bones and heel bone. There's a little divot, maybe even just finding a little brisk, soft circle there with the fingers. Flossing the fingers in between the toes. I'm going to come close and demo this real quick, which should look like this. Flossing the fingers in between the toe so you kind of have like a big web, like a big duck foot sort of feeling. And you can either hold and just feel the joints expand, or you can find a little wiggle back and forth, or a couple of circles in one direction and a couple of circles in the other. Whatever feels good. This one can sometimes be a little bit tender, especially if the feet are tight, but then release it and it'll feel really good. Now we're going to scissor the toes. So you take 2 toes, scissor them one way and the other, and then you just work your way down the foot like so. Each toe gets a little traction, just a tiny little decompression of the joint. And with that, you are done. Let's go to the other side. This is an awkward ankle. All right, and we warm it up. And when you're ready, start digging into the foot. I always like to work in between the big toe mound and the heel. There's a big tendon right there. So sometimes it's nice to work into that area, which can get a little tender because that tendon right here is responsible for wiggling the big toe, which is what we use to push off the foot when we're walking and running. So digging into that foot, getting into the hollow of the heel. So you can see that there's 2 bones here in the heel, and the hollow of the heel is right here. That's not the official term, that's what I call it. And sometimes even getting a little bit into there feels really good because through here, there's some tendons that like to travel. And you can probably see there's a big tendon right here as well. So this is another area where there's like a lot of business going on. And then flossing the fingers in between the toes, really squeezing them into there. Feeling the joints decompress. And then if you need, give it a little wiggle back and forth. Maybe a little circle in one direction, a little circle in the other. And then scissoring the toes. And then giving each toe a little traction, a little decompression of the joint. And that should feel really good. Let's continue. Back onto the mats. We're going to go into the fronts of the hips now. So take that foam roller, sit on it, and lay back so that the sacrum, the lower body, is on the mat, bringing the knees to the chest, keeping one knee into the chest, extend one leg up, and reach that heel down, keeping a nice long knee. So a nice lengthened leg. And then you can work with this until you start feeling the front of the hip open up. So if your heel is all the way onto the floor and you don't feel the hip opening up, find a sense of a little tuck in the tail and bring that knee closer to your chest. This can also be done if you have like a very sturdy table. It can also be done on a table. I don't recommend hopping on your kitchen table, though you might get in trouble. And just let that hip fall open. This is one of my favorite kind of passive stretches. Take one more big breath in here. And on the exhale, bend that bottom leg and bring it up. Let's go to the other side, leg up. And reach that heel down with a nice long elongated leg. And just feel the front of that hip spill open. And because this stretch is passive, once you have found that kind of gentle stretch area where gravity is kind of taken over, give your eyes a break. Close those eyelids. Release the jaw. Bring your focus in towards your breath. And see with each exhale, can you let that hip open up a little bit more? Can you let gravity kind of let your body fall into relaxation? I know that gravity doesn't produce relaxation, but it's a nice image. Falling into relaxation, giving into the gravity, just as the front of your hip is right now. Take one more big breath in. And on the exhale, bend that knee, placing 2 feet on the ground, lifting the hips up, sliding that foam roller away, placing it to the side, and going into the hamstring. So coming back to that first leg, extend that leg up. Ooh, and we'll keep this one a little passive for the moment, just letting the backs of the legs start to open up. And we'll actually be here for 1 minute. We're not going to do any of our intense resisting and releasing today. If you feel called to do so, I will let you know when we're in our last 15 seconds. And we can do one nice resist and release. But for now, just let that hamstring slowly and gently open up. Seeing if you can get that leg a little closer to your torso. All right, take an inhale in. Only if you want. You can either stay here passively or join for a little bit of intensity. We exhale and resist, and we hold that resistance. So we're pressing our leg into our hands and our hands into our legs. We're creating a lot of muscular energy, and we keep resisting. Take an inhale in, and on the exhale, we release and we bring that leg a little closer to us, and we let it float down to the ground. And we switch sides, and we are here for about a minute. That first side turned into a minute and a half, so we'll be here for a minute and a half as well. And now that we are on the second side, taking note if one side feels different than the other. If one side is easier or more difficult or more painful or more pleasant. And because we're here for a minute, this is another opportunity to just close the eyes, relax the jaw, feel the back of the hamstring open up. And only if you want, you can take a big inhale in. And on the exhale, you can resist. So creating a lot of muscle energy. And we keep resisting. Take a big inhale in. And on the exhale, release and bring that leg a little closer to you. And drop it to the ground. Give the legs a little shake out. Good. Let's come up. We're going to go into the front of the hip a little bit. Coming up onto a knee. We're going to find a tuck in the hip. And we're going to come forward a little bit. So we've already passively opened up the front of the hip, and now we're going to do it a little bit more actively. So I tuck my hip and then I come forward a little bit. If I want to get a little deeper in here, I bring my arm up and over. And we're here for just a little bit longer. Let's say we're here for another 20 to 30 seconds, breathing deeply. If you have the arm up and over, there's like a little bonus side stretch that happens in those ribs. So see if you can feel the front of the hip opening as well as the ribs. And while we're here, just check in with the jaw. Check in with the tension of the shoulders. And on your next exhale, come out of it and switch sides. Tucking that hip, coming forward a little bit, bringing that arm up and over if you need, and just getting into the front of that hip a little bit deeper. Using this as a moment to kind of assess what's going on in the body as well if the arm is up. See if you can kind of weasel it into a place so you get a nice big stretch on the side of the body as well as the front of the hip, a little kind of multi parts of the body stretch, I guess. And of course, checking in with the tension in the shoulders, checking in with the jaw. And now consciously take 3 breaths. And on your last breath, come on out of it. Grabbing the roller, finding a little straddle position. And because we have the roller, we'll just roll forward. And we'll be here for a moment, opening up the legs. Or if you want, you can have the roller closer to you and you can rest your forehead on the roller. So really, your body is doing no muscular work, and the stretch is a result solely of gravity. Take a big inhale in. And on the exhale, gently come up. Bring those legs in. Shake them out. All right. We're going to do a little bit of leg massage now. So leg massage, this is up to you and your own tolerance. Some of these things can be really sensitive, especially we learned last week going along the sides of the leg can be really intense. So I'm going to guide this, but if something is just like screaming at you to not do it, then don't do it. Find something else that you can do that feels right. But first, we're going to start with the thighs. So the fronts of the legs are on the roller. I'm on my forearms, and I just want to go back and forth gently and slowly. Note that I do not roll over my knee. I only go right up to the top of the knee and then back. So for the first few rolls, we're just kind of assessing where the thighs are today. What feels tight, what feels kind of nice, what feels like, whoa, there's a knot right there, and just kind of assessing what's going on. And as you go, you can start pinpointing areas. So maybe on one leg, you want to spend a little bit of time there, or turning the feet inwards and outwards, getting to different parts of the thigh, because it is a three-dimensional thing. It's not just like the front of the body in a two-dimensional sense. And if you find like a knotted spot that's a little painful, go there, hold it for a moment, breathing deeply. And then if you want to kick it up a notch, try bending and lengthening the legs. And that can sometimes be a little intense, but I promise after it's through, it'll feel really nice and long and lengthened and not so knotted. And then if you've gotten into kind of like detail in one area, make sure you kind of just flush it out with some big general strokes of the foam roller. All right, come out of that for a moment. Here we go. We're going to do the IT band on one side. So just a reminder, the IT band, aka the iliotibial band, runs from the tibia, hence the tibial part, and the iliacus, hence the ilio part. So it's really long. It's up the whole side of the leg. That being said, often rolling in the front or along the back of that big band is where we'll get the most bang for the buck, so to say. So going right on the side of the leg, sometimes you don't get a great massage, but then if you rock forward a tiny bit, woo, you can really get in there. Or if you rock back a tiny bit, you can really get into some good spots. So do what feels right. I'm going to work on kind of the front part of the IT band, kind of where it connects with the thigh today. That is feeling a little bit tender for me. So that's what I'm going to work on, and I'll find moments to pause and see if I can kind of melt my muscles around my roller. Obviously, this is something that takes part in the mind's eye, because right now my muscle feels like a solid rock, but we'll eventually get to the place where this feels massagey and lovely, but today it feels massagey and painful. And just a reminder that even though that this is intense, you are still relaxing the jaw. You can have pain in the legs while the jaw is relaxed. It is humanly possible. Checking in with the shoulders, and then checking in with the breath, and it actually might help a little bit. And come out of that. Whew, maybe with the hand, just kind of give that side of the leg um, a gentle jiggle, kind of just to get the flow back. That can sometimes be a little, not a little, a lot of it intense. Other side. And again, this side will feel different than the first side, and that's just how it is. That's just how it rolls. So take a couple kind of big, general, broad rolls up and down, just checking out where everything is. Try rolling a little bit forward. Oh, it doesn't feel too bad today on this side. Try rolling a little back so you kind of get like hamstring IT connection happening. That's a little tender. And then kind of choose where you want to focus in today. Or if you want to just keep doing these general broad strokes because it's a little too tight to kind of pinpoint something, that's also fine. I don't know about you, but this is like so painful that it's starting to make me sweat a little bit. It feels good afterwards though, and your legs will thank you tomorrow morning. Finding points to kind of pause and see if that muscle wants to melt around the roller. Checking in with the jaw. And the breath. Good. All right. Coming out of that, giving that side a little rub down. Cool. Let's put that roller to the side for a moment. We'll go into another one of my favorite exercises. And let's come onto the back. One knee into the chest, bringing it up and over, and matching the two hands on the floor. And we're going to draw 3 large circles with that top arm, feeling a nice big stretch in the ribs, a nice big twist. Oh, I just cracked my back. Feeling that pec open up, and the hand goes down and around. 2 more just like that. 1 more. And now let's reverse our circle so our hand draws down towards the knee. And it goes back, up and around. Enjoying kind of that stretchy rotation and movement. Noticing how the shoulders responding, if it feels good, if it hurts, if it feels like you're overstretching something. If it hurts or if it feels like you're overstretching something, then don't do it. Make the movement a little smaller so that it feels right and good. Let's switch sides now. The other leg comes up to the chest. We flop it over. The palms match each other and circles. 3 in each direction. Taking moments to really feel the stretch, the twisting, the opening of that pec and shoulder. And 3 circles in the opposite direction. Good. And when you're ready, come back to your back. Oh, we're going to end with a little relaxation. If you don't have a roller, that is a-okay. Lay fully back, palms facing the ceiling, eyes closed. If you have a short foam roller, you can place it under the knees and lay back so that the legs are a little supported. That sometimes feels good. If you have a long foam roller, you can end class the same way you started by laying the whole spine along the roller and the arms bent and open, letting those pecs fall to the floor. Everybody close their eyes. Take a moment here to feel the spine long on the ground. If you want, you can place the hands behind the head, giving the head a little traction out of the spine, and then lay the head back down with the new length in the upper body. If you want, you can also bend those knees, feet on the ground, palms on tops of the thighs, and on your exhale, pressing the palms into the thighs, finding a little extra space in that lower back, adjusting what you need to adjust. And on your next exhale, find stillness. And in this, we're going to put quotations around it, stillness. You're going to find a bunch of micro movements. In this stillness, you're going to find the jaw releasing. You're going to feel the shoulders melting into the ground. You're going to feel your upper back and heart and lungs and ribs and hips and sacrum fall through your floor, grounding down. You're going to feel your head cradled by what's underneath you. And on every exhale, you're going to give in to gravity just a little bit more. On every exhale, you're going to release a little bit more. And you're going to keep centering and releasing and grounding and giving in on each exhale until you feel ready and centered to gently and carefully come out of this little inventory of relaxation. And only when you're ready will you carry on with your evening. Thank you for joining. Have a good night. I hope to see you next week.